Feral Druid is known to be a very difficult specialisation to play. It's very fast paced and works on bleeds. But don't worry, because I'm going to really make it easy for you guys in this beginner video for Season 3, Patch 10.2, Guardians of the Dream. The first thing we are going to look at is the stat priority. I always look at it like a pyramid. Biggest at the bottom, and then the one you want the least is at the top. So going in order, you're going to want crit, then mastery, then haste, then verse. So you're going to want the most crit as possible, but don't worry too much about this. If something is generally an eye level increase, then just go for that. And of course, our main stat is agility. Now let's look at the cooldowns we have at our disposal. At the top here, we have two defensive cooldowns, and below we have two offensive cooldowns. Starting with defensive, we've got Renewal. It's quite simply going to heal you for 30% of your health. And then we have Bark Skin, and this is going to reduce the damage taken and increase your healing received. Very, very simple on those. Going on to the offensive cooldowns, we have Tiger's Fury, which is going to restore a ton of energy to you, which is our main resource. If you've played a rogue, it works very similarly to this. It's combo points and energy. So Tiger's Fury is going to restore energy and increase damage done. And then you have Berserk, which is a lot more complex, but to put it simply, it's going to generate a ton of combo points and it's going to increase your damage done. Now let's look at the utilities. Now, these are the core utilities that I would say are best to learn. There is, of course, a lot more. We all know how WoW is with its button bloat, but again, this is a beginner guide. And the goal here really is to get you to Keystone Master or to achieve ahead of the curve in heroic raiding. If you are looking at mythic raiding or doing really, really high keys, maybe above 20, then this is going to give you a really core understanding of how to play this spec. So let's actually get into the utilities. First off, we've got Ursul's Vortex. You can place a vortex and it will pull enemies in. The first one that tries to leave it will also get pulled back in, and it slows them down. Second, of course, is Innovate. Now, we won't be using this on ourselves because we're not using mana, but we can use this on other allies, and especially the healer, to basically make their casts cost no mana, and is very, very useful. The third is Rebirth, and this is quite simply a combat res, meaning we have this on a 10-minute cooldown, and we can resurrect somebody when they die in combat, and this is, of course, extraordinarily useful. Skull Bash is quite simply our interrupt, or kick, as it's otherwise known. Entangling Roots is another very useful one that will literally entangle them in roots and keep them in place. And then you've got Stampeding Roar, which gives a short speed boost to your entire party. Before we get into the core rotation itself, of course, this is the talent build I am going with. Don't worry about looking at the individual ones until you've really gotten used to how to actually play the spec itself. You don't want to overload yourself with information. I have put a import string down below so you can import this beginner build here straight into your talent tree. Now let's actually look at how to play Feral Druid itself. Now, to a lot of new players, like I said earlier, Feral Druid can be quite overwhelming. It's very fast paced and it does use both combo points here up to 5, and you have some energy to manage as well. Once you have grasped the rules of it, though, it does play very fluidly, and it's a really, really fun spec to use. Again, the talent spec that we are going for here is meant to be overall the most optimal way for a beginner to play. If you are looking at min-maxing later on, this isn't probably going to be the exact talent build you may go for, but again, this is going to give you a really clear ground understanding. So on my action bars down here, you can see some of the main abilities that we're going to be using, and I'm going to go through some of these quickly with you. First up, we have Feral Frenzy. Now, this is going to award 5 combo points. So you're always going to want to use this ideally at between 0 to 2 combo points, and this would ideally then, of course, be the first thing you're going to use when you go into combat to generate those 5 combo points. With those first 5 combo points, I would then use this on Rip. And this is going to cause a bleed on your target. This is something here that we are going to want to keep up at all times on our target. And next up, we have Rake. This also is going to cause a bleed, and we want to keep this up on our target at all times as well. This is going to be the same with our third ability, or fourth ability, sorry, which is Thrash. We're going to use this, and we're going to want to make sure we keep this up at all times as well. So just to recap, Feral Frenzy, which is on a 45-second cooldown, generates 5 combo points. Use this at the start or when you've just used your combo point spender and you're back at 0. Maintain, Rake, and Thrash on the target, and Rip. And Rip is a combo point spender. So maintain those bleeds on your target at all times. We then have Convoke the Spirits, which is going to use a load of Druid spells all at once here. It's very pretty. Use this literally on cooldown. The next ability we have here is Brutal Slash. This is also used for building combo points, and you have 3 charges of it. So we can use it 1, 2, 3 there, and this is going to build up our combo points. And then if we've already got Rip up on the target, which we should do, we're then going to use Ferocious Bite. Now, if you have nothing else to do and you need to build combo points, so if your Brutal Slash's charges are all gone, like they are now, what we're then going to use to build combo points is Shred. What you will also see sometimes happen is that you're going to get a proc on your Ferocious Bite. When this happens, please use it immediately. It's going to be instant and it's not going to cost any combo points. So always use that when it procs. Now let's go back to the cooldowns that we mentioned earlier. So firstly, you have Berserk. So you go Berserk for 20 seconds, generating 1 combo point every 1.5 second. Combo point generating abilities also generate 1 additional combo point, and your finishing moves, which are your combo point spenders, are going to restore up to 3 combo points generated over the cap. Also, Shred and Rake are going to have their damage increased by 50%. This cooldown is absolutely crazy, okay? It really, really, really is. Then we have Tiger's Fury. This one is going to instantly restore 50 energy to you and increases the damage of all your attacks by 21% for their full duration. And this one also lasts 15 seconds. If you were looking at AoE, a lot of your abilities themselves actually already do AoE, but if you want to actually be spending those combo points on an AoE spender, that would be this one down here, which is Primal Wrath. And that is pretty much it for the rotation. One last thing I will say is that in single target, just make sure you're concentrating on keeping those bleeds up, which are the dots that I showed you, and then always be reacting to your Apex Predator's cravings, which is the proc you're going to get on Ferocious Bite, and then spend any leftover resources from combo points also on Ferocious Bite. When you are using Berserk and Tiger's Fury, I would always say try and use this with your Convoke the Spirits as well. Again, this is a beginner guide, so this is the most simple rotation you can do for a Feral Druid. It can be a very overwhelming spec, but I think if you follow the tips I've given in this video, you should have a really good chance at doing well with it. Please do let me know in the comments below what you thought, and don't forget to check out my other videos because I will be doing all class specialization guides for patch 10.2.